You're answering a question in a meeting, and you start off clear and direct. You could stop after one sentence and your answer would be complete, but you don't. You add background context, then clarification, then the reason behind the reason. It feels thorough, competent, professional. Then you look around the room and notice something subtle. Someone leans back, another stops nodding, and a third glances at their phone. Nothing overtly confrontational, just a slight withdrawal of attention. So you explain more, tightening your logic, adding examples, layering in complexity, trying to make the answer airtight, but missing the fact that over-explaining usually isn't about clarity at all. It's about credibility under evaluation. When you sense you're being assessed, especially by someone senior, influential or unfamiliar, your mind begins scanning for weaknesses. Not dramatic flaws, just small gaps that might make you look uncertain, underprepared or less capable than you want to appear. That possibility alone can trigger an internal scan and repair process. You begin closing gaps before anyone points them out. You answer objections that haven't been raised. You defend decisions that weren't questioned. You add disclaimers just to clarify. What I meant was to give a bit more context. The intention is stability, to look knowledgeable, solid, thoughtful, in control. But externally, word volume can start to signal something else. Because confidence isn't actually measured by how much you say. It's measured by how comfortably you can stop. The more you add after a complete answer, the more your original clarity gets diluted. And perception then shifts from authority to justification. There's an appearance gap at play that's easy to miss. Internally, you feel thorough, careful, responsible. Externally, it can look like overcompensation. When do you notice the urge to keep explaining yourself? What was the last situation that this happened to you? I'd be interested to hear your experience in the comments. Part of the pressure comes from silence. Silence after you speak can feel like evaluation, like a verdict is being formed and you're waiting to see if you passed. So you rush to fill the gap because speaking reduces the tension you're feeling. Over-explaining provides immediate relief to this tension. It feels proactive, it feels protective. But relief is not the same as effectiveness. When you rush to remove silence, you subtly signal discomfort with being evaluated. That signal is subtle, but people do register it. There's also a cognitive cost. As you continue speaking, you're tracking your words, you're reading their reactions, you're anticipating possible criticism, and then adjusting to all this information in real time. It's a lot to process, and it's natural for structure to then begin to slip, sentences to lengthen. You repeat the same idea in slightly different language, and the message ends up being more convoluted instead of sharper. Over time, this pattern shapes reputation. People may start to see you as less decisive or more defensive than you actually are, not because your ideas lack quality, but because your delivery suggests uncertainty under scrutiny. The alternative is deliberate constraint. Answer once, clearly, then stop. Allow the subsequent silence to exist without immediately filling it. If more detail is needed, people will ask for it. And when you tolerate this brief period of uncertainty, you signal comfort with evaluation, and comfort signals confidence. But the urge to explain is often driven by the same internal pressure that makes people react too quickly under pressure. In the video on screen, we break down why reacting fast can damage long-term outcomes and how learning to delay that first impulse changes everything about how you're perceived.